again, Corcoran was like it's like celebrity role, man. In terms of bad people, you know what I'm
Yeah, one
saying,
Corona,
as they say,
Sirhan. Yeah, you had a crew.
broken people. You
Yes,
know what I
yes.
mean? So there was Rod Alcala, aka the dating game serial killer and sex offender, who was convicted for 8 murders in '79, and there was Juan Corona,
My boy.
a Mexican serial killer and rapist, dubbed the Machete Murderer, who was convicted in '73 for the murder of 25 farm workers. Did you spend time with either of them?
Yeah, you know, I, I've known them again since I was a kid. I've known Juan, but Juan was a crazy old Mexican dude, man. He
Mm-hmm.
was trying to kill people in there. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Juan was
he was obviously out of his
yeah,
mind,
he
man.
was out of see, like Charlie, I have to reiterate. Charlie, you're doing an interview, and I was right next door to him, and he'd come to my cell and he'd look around and he'd go, Showtime. Because he was such a joke to him. Where then
Right.
now you ask me about Juan. I mean, he was trying to kill people in prison. I mean, the man, he would walk around talking to himself. He was insane. So
Yes.
it was passing. He was like, Buenos dias. Hey, good morning. I'd be like, oh, good morning. Hey, all right. He's having a good day. Um, I didn't mess with him because you know, again,
Completely unpredictable.
yeah. And you don't touch a woman or a child. I
That's right.
always have to reiterate that because I'll fight everybody in this motherfucking room, but I
Me
won't
too.
put a hand on a woman or a child for no reason
Facts.
on God's earth.
Facts.
I mean, I've had a woman slap me, and I never hit her back.
That's right.
That's just the way I was raised. But those guys you're talking about, there's people you talk to. It's like, I knew other murderers in there that weren't so, the Max Factor guy was, I know so many killers. But a killer is different. So like I said, I was trying to articulate this to you. I hear so many people are killers. So many people are gangsters. So many people. I grew up in a culture where if you had a tattoo, you had to earn that motherfucking tattoo. You just didn't
That's
get tattoos.
right.
You know what I mean? Now everybody got tattoos. Everybody's a gangster. Everybody's a
Everybody's wearing the
rapper.
uniform.
You know what
Yeah.
gangster is, bro? Gangster standing over your motherfucking bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, eating
Yes,
chicken
sir.
wings out of your refrigerator, talking about what up, fool? Where you
Yes,
from?
sir.
That's what's gangster.
Yes,
That's
sir.
gangster. Gangster ain't robbing a liquor store. That ain't gangster. But that's
Yeah.
again, that's
Or
just
pointing your gun in the camera.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um. Speaking of gangsters, actual gangsters. Um. Would you mind talking a bit about one more person from your days in Corcoran, Joe Pegleg Morgan, the founder of La M, more
I
widely known as the Mexican Mafia?
I can't speak on it.
Um, well, there's something that I learned from your, you know, interviews and so forth that blew my mind, and it was the fact that the guy who created the Mexican Mafia was not Mexican himself.
Croatian.
That blew my mind, bro.
Yeah, he's from Croatia. Is that a trip?
That's a super trip, bro.
I know. I tell people that they're like, no, no. How could he be the founder of the Mexican Mafia and he's from Croatia? Well, how could you be the president of 18th Street and you're Puerto Rican, fool? You know,
Right,
you know what I mean?
right,
Because
right. How do those things, like the restrictiveness of it is what's crazy. It was so restrictive, and the restrictiveness was based upon, it's like, I don't even want to invoke the name, but Hitler had a criteria for what he felt was a master race. And he didn't meet the criteria at all. He was not blonde haired. He was
uh,
not blue eyed. He was not, tall in stature and broad shouldered. It's like, how did someone from Croatia, who, he came up in that neighborhood, and there, he did come up through ranks and so forth. How did he create a situation that was so tight knit and so restrictive about who could participate? And initially, it was, you had to be Mexican. How does a Croatian establish that type of criteria?
you know, um, I want to stay healthy, I want to stay
Hmm.
alive,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't comment.
It's a no, no. I mean, it's a rhetor. It's
I
that's
know, but
rhetorical.
I just, you know, it's common sense, bro. No, it's just,
Yeah.
it's like they tell me, I'm raised in the hood too, just like he was
Right.
raised in the hood. I'm
Right.
Puerto Rican. He was Croatian. But at the end of the day,
Mhm.
your homies don't see you as that. They just see you as your homie.
That's right.
You know, um, I used to get heat all the time from the Mexicans. Man, fuck you, Boricua, fuck you, Bodie. And I'm like, damn, man, why you hating on me so much? But his situation was different because it was a different era. We're talking in the 50s, the 60s. But again, I don't want to compound on it.
No, no, not at all. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And that's one of the things about, doing these sorts of interviews. Like I said, why I started prior to us, recording for this interaction. I explained to you with my magazine, my first magazine, Don Diva. I did those stories because I understood that the people who were not participants in the life that we lived, they had a different criteria for what was good and what was bad. And I wanted people to understand that the people who have lived the lives that we've lived and made the choices that we've made and the kinds of choices that people who come through those circumstances make were not any different in most instances, than anybody else who gets up and goes out and does whatever they have to do to provide for themselves a life that they desire and the life they want for their families. And I recognize that people outside of life had a either an agenda or a obligation to, at the end of the day, no matter what was said, no matter what type of redemption the person may have displayed, if they were involved in criminality at all, at the end of the day, they had to be demonized. You're a bad person. You're a bad person. You might have did this, you might have did that, you might have some kids, whatever, but you're a bad person. No matter what, you're a bad person because you made these choices. So without people like us to speak for and through and with people like us, then there's no way that people like us can ever really have redemption in society because they won't let us.
Well, I'm
They
only
just
doing
want to
it.
see us as
I'm
they
only
see
doing it for one reason. I'm only doing it for one reason.
it.
I'm old. I'm getting older every day, and I don't know if God's gonna forgive me for killing. I don't. I don't. But
Have you forgiven you?
I know that with every kid I help, I'm hoping that when I go to the gates, he'll give me a holler. Won't send me downstairs. You'll keep me up there. That's why I'm doing it. That's the only reason. I gotta live with myself.
Well,
I have a family. I have a beautiful wife. I got friends. And my friends are my friends because they love Joey, and they know I'm not perfect, but they know my heart is good with what I do. So I believe it's what you do in life and what you give back. You can only kill so many people, man.
mm, mm,
You know, you could only be as bad as you want. You could anybody could do that. But it takes somebody to say, hey, you know what? Let me holler at you. Why don't you go to the left instead of the right? Let me help you this way. What do you want to be? You want to be a musician? Send a tape to Ruthless City. And if you're good, we'll holler. We'll try to do something. That's what I'm doing today. That's what I'm doing
right,
tomorrow. And it's not, well, you're bad, you're Denis. I was bad. I am bad. I was boxing from 18th Street. I am a convicted murderer who served 40 years. But I know that I'm loved. I know that I'm making a
right.
difference every day. I'm paying that car note. I got that roof. I'm going to Bali in Italy and London. I'm seeing the world. I'm enjoying life and I'm not hurting nobody. I'm doing what I
Wonderful.
should have done when I was 18.
Right.
I just lost 40 years because the streets got me. So I concur with everything you're saying. But I believe that if you led a bad life, you're not a bad person. Kids aren't born bad. They're not. Society makes them what they are. So if I
Right.
could
You
be, if
you
I
you
could just
think
be one of those crusaders, if I could do it, I don't give a fuck what you think what's a reason for. You ain't paying my bills. I'm not fucking you. You're not putting no money in my pocket. I do it because every time I go to bed at night, I go to bed. Ain't nobody looking to kill me. I don't owe nobody no money. I ain't doing drugs. I go to bed every night knowing, hey, I did something positive today. So, that's just what my heart feels, and that's a summation of everything we're talking about, my brother.